The Lord is able to heal your broken heart if you give your broken heart to Him. Chris and Rusty Golden are no strangers to the country music world. Sons of William Lee Golden, a member of the Oak Ridge Boys, they grew up singing Southern gospel music. Years after their solo careers earning many #1 hits, their father, William Lee, gathered his sons, Rusty, Craig, and Chris, his grandchildren, and a friend to record what has become a tremendous healing process for the family and the start of a new group, William Lee Golden and the Goldens. This is their story. This is today's Nashville. This is Faith. Rusty, Chris, what a pleasure it is to sit down with you here at your dad's house.
Wow.
Golden era.
Here we are.
Okay,
It's our
first
pleasure.
question. Who's the oldest?
I always hated that question because Rusty is.
By many years.
But he acts the youngest, so
How many years?
just 4 years difference.
Just 4
And we have a
years.
brother in between us, Craig.
I know
so
that,
it's
yeah.
Every
Craig.
2
So
years.
you're the baby.
I was for
I
a
thought
long
Craig
time.
was, so I got that mixed up. So
No.
yes, you
I
have
was
a
for
younger
long
one,
time. I have
Solomon.
Right.
Solomon. So, what was it like?
I'm still my mama's baby.
I bet you are. What was it like growing up in the Golden family?
It was, you know, I've been asked that question a few times, and it really, we knew that Dad was different than most other dads, but it was just something that's what our dad did, you know. He was gone a lot. We knew that. He wore a lot cooler clothes than any of the other daddies at school. He looked like a gangster most of the time, looked like a good fella, sort of, you know, because they had the gospel and the, you know, Cadillacs and the
Shark skin suits.
right. So
Yeah.
mostly just grew up listening to gospel music for the first little spell of our life, you know, musically. It was mostly just gospel music. What was it like for you, Russ?
Absolutely, gospel was the only kind of music that we heard until well after we moved, after 65, when Dad joined the Oak Ridge Boys. We were still like the record player that we had there. I remember I was 7 when Dad joined the Oaks, but all the records were gospel quartets, all of them, because they were at my grandmom's house. That's, you know, anyway, but that's all Dad listened to. The Elvis thing was out, but that's not what he listened to, and was, you know.
Right at that time, but later on, it's like, you know, the different kind of music started coming into the house, and Glenn Campbell and Gladys Knight, and, you know, the music thing, a wide variety.
Did you ever go on tour with the Oaks then, or you know, I mean, with your dad, or did you?
Rusty probably more than I did because he was a little bit older, but I did get to go to a few times, like, you know, if it was somewhere close by, we would get to go to Bowling Green, Kentucky, or Memphis, Tennessee.
But when you're a little kid riding the bus and like getting in a bunk, even though it's only like maybe a 3-hour ride, you think, wow, I'm sleeping in the bunk. You don't know that it's
Not very far.
Yeah, right.
I remember I went to Memphis. I was in the 5th grade, and I got, you know, the Oaks bus would pull up to school, and they'd pick me up at school. And back then, the Oaks were kind of a struggling gospel group, although they were at the top of the game in gospel music. It wasn't like the success that they had later on in country music, but most of the guys just had one car. So the bus would go house to house and picking them up like a school bus, you know, and dropping them off like the singers. It'd be like the bus would go door to door picking up singers, and they all sort of lived close to each other. But they picked me up at school one time. I got to go to Memphis with them, and I felt so special getting to get checked out of school and
What did your
get on
friends
the
think?
bus. Oh, it was mostly the teachers.
We went to a Christian school, right?
Yeah.
And so going to the Christian school, there was a hair regulation above the ears,
Off
and
the
off the
collar.
collar. Well, our dad walks in, he's got a longer hair.
He wasn't regulation.
And they're asking him for the autographs, and can we get your picture?
So what was it like, you know, after those years, your teenage years, when did you know that, you know, you wanted to go into music?
It was kind of like the family
You just
business,
knew,
and it
right.
was something that came from both sides of our family. You know, my dad and his sister Lynette, she played piano and guitar, mandolin, and sang. But our mother's side of the family, she was one of 8 brothers and sisters, and they all played and sang. They played fiddles, guitars, pianos. So whenever they got together to sing, it was like a double quartet. There was 8 parts, and they all sang in harmony. So we kind of got it on both sides. My mom's dad played the fiddle, and it was just something that kind of come easy for me. And I was basically just trying to be like Rusty at the time. Rusty got really good at playing drums when he was
Age
young.
12, right?
Well, I mean, I was already on the
Like-
road at 13, so when you said, when did you, how old were you?
5 probably.
I mean, but I already knew what I was going to do, wanted to do at definitely by 10, definitely, because I was working at it and got good enough that I was doing that by 13.
Now, who were you playing the drums for? I heard that you...
Back then, Dottie Rambo, it was called, the group was the Rambos, the singing Rambos, but featuring Dottie Rambo, the songwriter. And back then, she was as prolific a songwriter as what Bill Gaither is, but she was one of the first new gospel songwriters that came along that everybody cut her songs, even the same song, and had hits with the same song. That don't happen anymore. There's
a lot of our stuff became standards.
Elvis recorded her songs. I mean,
Wow.
yeah. Anyway, so that's who I was playing for. Back then, there were, you know, the gospel music business that the Oaks were involved with was called Southern Gospel. You know, it was split up like that. You know, and there were really, you know, 5 really all major acts: Oaks, you know, Happy Goodman, Spears, Rambos, Stamps. There were a few like. And when they would do like mega shows, they could pack a full of 10,000 seats, you know. And that was big for Southern gospel. It really was.
I was just trying to be like Rusty. Rusty started playing drums. I thought, well, man, that's something I can do. And when he was talking about Dottie, I remember when they used to come over and eat with us sometime. I remember playing drums with, you know, like it's like show and tell when you got company over. They make the kids play for, you know, the company, and I can remember doing a little drum thing for them when I was just probably 5 years old. Then Rusty moved to piano, and I thought that was something I wanted to do. I started playing piano. I remember one night we were fighting over the drumsticks, and Dad took me up to the bedroom, and he brought out his guitar, and we didn't, you know, his guitar is sitting right here. It was the one that didn't come out very much back then, but he said, hey man, if you learn how to play a different instrument, y'all can play together. So that's something that kind of started me on the journey of trying to learn to play the guitar.
And what a journey it has been, and we're going to talk about that because from there, you guys went into solo careers, and we're going to talk about it when we come back.
Okay.